All right, I think we are live. I'm Peter Brusso for 101 Small Business Mastermind. By the way, this is number 60 in our podcast series. Say good morning, Dick.
Good morning, Dick.
And say good morning, Frank.
Good morning, Dick.
All righty. So here we go. We got a full show today. And on the top of my list is article spinning. Dick has been putting a lot of effort in his writing articles for his new site. And I want to show you one of the tools that we use to spin articles. And here it is. And I'm going to get over here so I can actually see it. So what spinning articles is all about is if you write an article, you can only use it in one place on the web. That might be a blog, that might be on your website. But you'd like to have it put in other places to get some traffic and to get some readers. But if you put it in other places, it's called duplicate content, in which case Google is a little upset with that. They want original, fresh content. So here's a tool that you literally can spin an article. And what that is, I'm gonna play with this. Let me see here. I want to get down here, say yes, and start the rewriting process. Now it's going to take this original article, which is Dick's article, and it'll start to spin it. Now, I unfortunately didn't click this, but it's loading the text, so we can go back and modify it. But you see right here, now here we are, and it says right now there's one possible version with 0 uniqueness. Now what it did is it went through, and I can double click this, and so it says here's 5 legal. I could say 5 forbidden, well these are all the opposites, so I want to go to the next one. Deadly, fatal, lethal, harmful, dangerous, and driving a vehicle. So you can see as this starts to say, on the first go it'll say 5 illegal and deadly driving habits. The next article that it would make would be 5 illegal and fatal driving habits or driving a vehicle habits. And so you can go through this whole thing and essentially create a human readable Legal Shield provider law firms, Legal Shield service provider law firms. So you can kind of see how this works. Now it says there's 30 possible versions of 5% uniqueness on an average. So it takes you time to go through this spinning, but you can get essentially 1,000 articles that are 99% unique, and then you spin, say, 10 of them, or you get copies for 10 of them. And then you can put one on a blog, put one on your site, put one out, or the rest of them out on article sites that have high page ranks so you can get good backlinks. But they're all human readable, and they all start with your original story. And a lot of people just grab somebody else's story and spin it, but that's not what I've taught Dick or I do myself. We write our own original content, and then I don't feel bad about spinning my own original content. And then putting it out all over the place. So article, and this is called, by the way, in our business, article marketing, which somebody will pay you, $500 to $1,000 a month to spin articles and get them out there, which brings backlinks to the site, which then raises your authority in Google, and that's really, really important. So I wanted to just share this tool with everybody. And so everybody can understand what article marketing is about. That was my first one. Any questions on that, Frank or Dick, before I move on?
The comment, you showed me how to use that, and I've used it quite a bit. It takes time, and it's worth it. The first time I did it, I went too quickly, and when I looked at my article, it was mumble jumble. I said, "Oh my God!" So you have to really go through it. You are truly rewriting your article. They're giving you options of other words or phrases, but you have to choose the right word or phrases to make sure it fits the context of the article that you're writing. So that's just I learned that early on.
Yeah, and it's human readable. Very important.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're right. It does take a bit of time, no question.
Yeah.
But so, all right. Next up, I ran across something that I was flabbergasted at. Now, probably shouldn't be. Let's see if I can share that. That's not what I want. Let me get over here to find. This is what I want right here. Give me a second, everybody. Thought I had that all queued up here. And here is what I want to share. All right. Now, notice this is Wired Magazine, okay? And I was doing some research for today. I ran across sponsored content. Think that out. Wow, that's an article ad written that they pay to get in Wired Magazine, as opposed to Wired people writing content. And now look at this. All of this is sponsored content. Sponsored content. And then community content, I don't know what's the difference between community content and sponsored content. But almost the whole front page is nothing but sponsored content. Look at the change in the topography of online magazines now.
Yeah.
All sponsored content, and Wired is a big thing. It's amazing. Okay, so wow, huh? What do you think of that?
Describe sponsored content. I'm a vendor, and I want an article written that's going to promote my company. Is that what that is?
That's exactly what that is, and you're going to pay Wired to get in Wired with your article that's written slanted to sell your item.
So it's a camouflaged almost ad.
Yes, it is a camouflaged ad. Now, I mean, in the old days in newspapers, if you bought a side ad for whatever, right, they would do an article about you with the side ad sitting right next to it, right? But they would interview you, and it would be a newsworthy item, not a fox in a hen house, which I think is exactly what this is. You read it and you think, oh, this is news. No, it's their spin on what they want you to believe. Wow. No independence anymore. So the topography of what we're running into out there, even to do our research, Frank, when we do our research for the show,
right.
Now we have to be more careful than ever.
If I were a regular reader of Wired online,
right.
And I found this out, it would turn me off.
Well, of course it should.
I say that's not why I'm going to Wired online.
Right, you're going there to get their slant,
right,
on newsworthy items, not a sponsored item that essentially spoon feeds you an ad. Yeah. So anyway, before I go on to the next one, Dick, do you have anything you want to say about that at all?
Well, I always thought, and maybe obviously I'm wrong, I always thought that when you read a newspaper, if it's an editorial, they tell you it's an editorial page. If it's an advertisement, there's usually maybe small letters advertisement. If it's an opinion thing, they identify as opinion piece, but apparently that doesn't happen anymore, if I'm understanding you right.
Seems like journalism is going out the window.
Yeah. So once again, you can't just read something and take it for face value. You got to, like you say, do your homework.
Wow. Well, at least they're saying sponsored content.
Yeah.
So does it say that in the ad and in the content on Wired? It says sponsored content on each article.
I don't know, but we can go look right now because I can click on that article. Let me share my screen.
Because if it does, then you just ignore it or pay attention to it, I guess.
Oh wait, I gotta set focus on me first before I share my screen. So I was initially interested in this Google Glass thing because we talked about it last week, and it does say sponsored content at the top.
Okay.
Very small though. Okay. And I'm scanning the rest of this because I'm not seeing. Um, Dick, are you doing paperwork there? What's all that?
No, I just folding something up.
Okay. I don't see it. I don't see it, guys. I don't see anything else. Sponsored stories. I don't know, but that's pretty crazy. I thought sponsored content. Who sponsored it and why? But okay, let me get back over here. All right, next up. Now, if you don't think this is scary, let me get it set up here. Actually, I take some joy in a bit of this. Let's sponsor that. Now, I'm sure everybody's heard ethical hackers now went after the Ashley Madison cheat, life is short, have an affair website, right? And they had a 9.7 gigabyte upload, 32 million users, right? Data going back as far as 2008. 15,000 of them are .mil or .gov addresses. Wow. Well, that's a small number when you think about millions, but nonetheless, they use their .mil or .gov addresses when signing up for this site to find somebody to have an affair with. Now, that's not the big deal. The big deal is, of course, that now there are groups of ethical hackers. So they felt that this was an unethical site and they want it taken down, which is kind of scary because it goes against our freedom of speech, so to speak, right? But they have the tools to do it, and they did it. And now all of these people, both male and female, that use this particular site, once people can find out where all the names are, and I guess you can, they go through it to see if they know anybody. It's just a freaking mess. And I don't know, but this is the wave of the future, unfortunately, looking to see, again, ethical hacking, huh? What do you think?
I really, it's scary. I mean, you can debate obviously the morals and the ethics of having that affair going to that site is obviously is not good. But all of a sudden you have some hacker who is judge and jury that decides I don't like it and I'm going to expose it, and all of a sudden the right to privacy of 32 million people are violated. Mm-hmm. And I think that is wrong. I think it's wrong. And who decides what's moral or not? I mean, all of a sudden they could say, our podcast is slanted in one way. Well, and not that we do anything wrong, but I'm saying that you got someone sitting there as judge and jury, and that's not, in my mind, constitutional or right. So I think it's terrible.
And think of the fallout of this.
Yeah. Oh God.
And then ruining lives, families, kids, everything. What a mess! The only people that will actually benefit from this are the lawyers.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, my first thought when I heard this, and I guess it's weird because I don't know why I did. My mind went. I wonder what the liability is to Ashley Madison's website because I'm sure they promised some kind of confidentiality.
Right.
Yeah, but they had disclaimers in there, Frank. I saw a couple lawyers talking about it.
Oh yeah, what are they saying?
Yeah, that they did promise confidentiality, but they had a disclaimer at the bottom that you do enter at your own risk and.
So the fine print.
Yeah, the fine print. Yeah.
Even in an affair, it's the fine print.
I mean, if you're stupid enough to do that, in one hand, okay, so you get what you deserve. You're breaking the trust of a husband, wife, children, whatever. But it's still just, I don't like the fact that they did it. I just think it's unconstitutional in my mind, and it's a trend that is becoming more and more. I mean, I don't want to get into whole politics and politically correct, but it's a trend that a small majority are dictating what's going on in this world, and it's a very small majority, but they get the platform, so I don't like it.
If you disagree with me, I'm going to hack your site and hack your life and make it miserable because you disagree with me, and that's just not what America should be about.
No, it isn't. I don't think anyone should do that to anyone, in my opinion.
And I'll politically say anchor babies, damn it.
Yeah.
Call it like it is, you know. Yeah. All right, let me see. That's my A block. Was that entertaining at all, Frank, for you?
Yes, enjoyed it. Thank you.
Could I jump in just before Frank starts? You mentioned,
please do.
You mentioned the Google Glass and that crinkle you heard as USA Today. I was reading the other day, the big headline: Motorola's high-tech projects for police. Dispatchers will be able to send officers text messages on the lenses of the smart glasses. They're going to wear smart belts and drones, and their handcuffs are going to be smart wired up, so when they click it on somebody, somebody knows it. And I won't go. It was a pretty long article, but it's just taking the high tech to the police force. And God knows that I think these police officers need something to to protect them. So I thought it was interesting. It was quite a nice article. But go along. You've been talking about the wearables, and I thought this is a whole new market that Motorola is going head first into as far as wearables for police officers. So.
Well, a while back, while I was connected to what they call an HPM, high power microwave weapon. We pioneered this so you could fly up behind somebody and literally take an airplane out of the sky without an explosion. Wow. But some of the guys put it on a remote control car, and you can run it up underneath the vehicle and short the vehicle out, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And so they thought this would be a great tool for cops and the high-speed chases. You just put out this drone.
Yeah.
Now they don't even have to steer it. I think you could point it at a target and be smart enough for the drone to actually come in no matter where the car was, maneuver up underneath this thing and light off an HPM weapon, high-power microwave weapon, and there's no explosion. It just all of a sudden your ignition doesn't work, nothing works anymore. You fry the computer out of the car. And there'll be a day, or a drone that might actually fly instead of being on the road to go under it.
Yeah.
You fly a drone right up to it, and sit on the roof and electrocute them.
Yeah. Sure. Well, I've read a lot. You've seen some things on TV about this EMP, where the big fear is that if a foreign country could just disable our whole country with a blast of the EMP.
Electromagnetic pulse. Yes.
Yeah.
I do know a few things about that, actually.
I'm sure.
My first job that I never got to at Boeing was to go around and harden military installations from electromagnetic pulse, which precedes an atomic blast.
Yeah.
When you actually detonate an atomic bomb, there's an electromagnetic wave that goes out first, and it shorts everything out. Nothing works, and of course that goes out a long, long way, even past the blast area, which of course is the idea. So new cars won't work. Nothing works. It just gets shorted out. It essentially, not to get too technical now, but essentially fries the space charge junction layer in transistors, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, and that allows things to communicate and is gone. That's it. So, but there have been cases where I know that there have been EMP weapons developed like that will detonate, and there won't be an atomic blast per se, but it'll be an EMP pulse that will take out cities all over the place. So electrical grids all gone.
Yeah.
And we're back into the Stone Age.
Right.
But that exists. Planes will literally fall out of the sky because they all fly by wire. Little planes won't, but they won't run either because nothing's going to work. But anyway, scary thought, huh, guys?
Yep, absolutely.
Wow.
Okay, so here we go. I believe in speed. That we got.
Hey, here's a signal.
You're on, Dick. Or you're on, Frank.
Yeah, thank you. This week in the news, headlines and news and business lessons. This week's twin is, "Hey, Michael Hanna, Hanna, thank you for the small business lesson." And the question always is, who the heck is Michael Hanna? Well, let me tell you about Michael. Michael still lives in Portland, Oregon. And 6 years ago, in 2009, Michael was an advertising executive at Comcast up there in Portland, and he was managing 40 people. And one afternoon, his boss called him into her office. And the office says, "Michael, you're being let go. Due to the economy, we've got to do a RIF, a reduction in force. And here is Johnny from HR. He will escort you to your desk with this cardboard box. Please empty your tank, and thank you for your service." He had been in the business for 25 years. 25 years. So Michael had to go home that afternoon, arrive home early, and tell his wife and 2 teenage kids that things were going to be different. But Michael was not concerned about finding a new job because he's a connector, a networker, and he had made valuable contacts working as a TV reporter, an ad salesman, and he was an executive at 2 Portland TV stations. So Michael was primed for success. So Michael made calls. He took lunches with his contacts, met with his contacts, and they were all very sympathetic. But they too were just hanging on to their jobs and had nothing for him. Now Michael got concerned. And he said, "How am I going to make my mortgage payment? The kids are going to go to college soon. And whatever retirement money we had saved, we're living on right now." And Michael didn't know what to do. 3 months after being laid off from Comcast, Michael and his wife invited a couple over for dinner. And the husband made an offhand comment that changed Michael's life forever. And here's the comment that his friend made over dinner that night at Michael's house. He said, Michael, he says, "I have a friend who owns a furniture store in LA, and he's trying to unload a semi-truck full of factory seconds mattresses made from Sealy. He says, why don't you just buy these and sell them on Craigslist and make a little profit for yourself?" At the end of that evening, after the couple left, Michael sat down with his wife and says, "I want to take out a home equity loan for $9,000 and buy those mattresses." His wife says, "You're nuts." But she eventually agreed. Michael knew nothing about mattresses, but he knew how to write ad copy, and he knew how to sell. He bought the mattresses, and he sold them on Craigslist in just a couple of months. Michael was on a roll. Then Michael bought another truckload of mattresses in December of that year, that same year. And he found an empty car dealership and rented it and opened up his first brick and mortar store. And he put his mattresses in it. It's not like a warehouse because he had no fixtures. Warehouse looked weird. And sales were sporadic, and they would have stayed that way until Michael says, "Wait a minute. Why don't I do this?" And here's the beginning of the lesson. Michael and many of his Portland friends, if you know Portland, Oregon, Michael and many of his friends in Portland were go green people, you know, the tree huggers, and try to protect the environment. So here's what Michael did. He was the first mattress store in the U.S. to deliver his mattresses on a bicycle. A friend of his had a little attachment he made to the back of his bike, put the mattress on a bike, and drove and would deliver mattresses. Well, as you can imagine, that little change drew a lot of attention, and soon Michael was being interviewed by the local newspapers and TV stations and national media. And that increased Michael's foot traffic, but Michael did 2 more things that boosted his sales to the level it is today. Again, Michael being a go-greener and a tree hugger, Michael gave free delivery and setup to any customer who visited his store by bicycle or used public transportation. Again, the Go Green movement. And then Michael says, not only that, He says, but I will not sell any national brands like Sealy and Serta, Posturepedic, and those. He says, I only sell mattresses made by Portland people in the Portland area to support the local community and the economy. And those three changes has made Michael's store, which is called now the Mattress Lot, it is still a thriving business today. So what's a small business lesson? And there is one. Michael did not do what most other small business owners do. Michael did not want to compete with the big box stores that sold mattresses. He targeted a niche that these box stores were ignoring. And listen to how he defined his niche. He says, I want to sell to the mattress buying Go Green community. And he joined that community. Well, first of all, he was a member anyway, but he said, I'm a Go Green person. I use bicycle power, not gas powered, and I support the local community. The lesson here is what ignored niche market can you tap into, and why aren't you directing your marketing efforts to serve that niche? And then as I was doing this, I thought of both of you guys. Both of you guys belong to a very specific, strong, growing, loyal community called veterans. Both of you guys are veterans, and you participate in that. And I don't know why you guys don't have a special marketing effort for veterans for your business, Dick, and veterans who are trying to do web stuff. Again, special marketing effort, special campaign, even special pricing, special extra goodies, only for veterans. And I think the lesson I learned from Michael is a lesson I think that a lot of small business, no, it doesn't have to be veterans. I happen to know both of you guys are veterans, and I think that's awesome. But anyway, so that's my twin for this week. Thank you.
Good thought, Frank.
Yeah, no kidding.
I know Legal Shield over Veterans Day had a special for the month of November, but it was just for that month, and also that's a good thought. Yeah, good input.
Too bad you can't make that every day, huh?
Yeah.
No, but Dick can. Dick can make a special marketing effort. Now you can't change Legal Shield's pricing, but you could offer a free something that only Dick provides for veterans only.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's just anyway. So whatever it's worth.
That's a good thought. Yep.
Yeah, we'll have to think that out. That is a very good thought.
Yep.
Extremely thought-provoking for an old white guy. Fat too.
Fat old white guy.
Fat old white guy. You know. We're going to talk about our internet troll a little later on in the show, but that's good.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along there, Dick, you have an entrepreneurial chunk for your C block?
Yeah, I have some thoughts here. I look back at the end of every day of the week, and I say, what have I really accomplished here, and what have I done? And I start thinking about the things that I have to have some involvement in on a weekly, daily, monthly basis. I have to be exposing my business to potential new business clients or individuals and all. So I have to do that. I have to continually educate myself on Legal Shield because, as any company that's worth their salt, they're always evolving and changing programs and making them better, enhancements. So I have to stay on top of those, which requires time. I have to self-educate myself as far as reading books and webinars and what's going on and things of that nature. We've talked about some of the books in the past. I have to manage my highs and lows as far as my own mental attitude. I have to keep in touch with my wife. She reminded me the other day that we really haven't talked much lately. And then you got the honeydews that I operate out of my house, so I have to when something's broken or whatever, I have to get involved with that. And, so rather than ramble on about everything I worry about, I got to thinking. This one of the most crucial items I think for any small business owner, be it a home-based or operating a brick and mortar or whatever, is time management. And it's so easy to get off track on a daily basis because there's always going to be that that unexpected phone call and whatever, and sometimes you have to say no. And my wife pointed that out to me the other day as I was mumbling and grumbling about things. She says, well, maybe you should learn to say no. You can't do it. I get calls, the veterans thing, I get calls, can you help me do this, help me do that, and I always say yes. And so maybe I shouldn't say yes, but it's hard not to help people out. So what I've come to is I really try to structure my day into different areas. I like to walk or exercise, so I'll do that, and I try to be ready for work by 7:30, 8 at the latest. And what I try to do is devote the first few hours of the day to the computer stuff. My website, I didn't even mention that. That is a time-consuming effort that you have to absolutely stay on daily. I was visiting a prospective client yesterday. I gave him my website. I said, hey, check it out. I would appreciate your feedback. He gets back and he says, well, you got a couple of misspelled words here. You got this, so you have to spend a lot of time on it. So I'm trying to do that on the hours that I can't be contacting people about my business and all. So, early mornings to about 8, 9 o'clock, and then late afternoons from 4 o'clock on. And I do a lot of things on the weekend as far as, Peter mentioned the articles that we post and things of that nature. I try to do those on Saturday and Sunday and have them finished and put into a memory so I can just release them during the week. So I devote a lot of off hours to the non-productive, visually productive things of trying to build your business from a sales point of view and getting clients. So that doesn't work because even at that, you're going to get a lot of an awful lot of interruptions. So the only advice I can give anybody, I only bring it up because I really have had a week and a half where I have not had too many moments during the day that I wasn't scheduled or had to do something. And I sit back and I look at this past week and I did a lot of things. But I don't think I did a lot of things right. I haven't signed a lot of clients up. But, so I got to reevaluate and get myself back on track when the interruptions come. So I bring it up so everyone should look at your time management. Look how you spend your day. Look at your calendar. The appointment you had, ask yourself, was it worth it? Did you need to do it? Could you avoid it? Could someone else have done it for you? And really pay attention to that because, it's so easy to get off track. And all of a sudden you look at the clock at 6 o'clock at night and you haven't accomplished anything. So I would just ask everyone to pay attention to their time and the time management, the scheduling. If it's not something that is going to help you or be productive, or it's important to help someone else with, learn to say no. I have to learn to do that, and my wife has pointed that out to me. So I think it's an important thing, and I think it's something we really need to pay attention to as small business owners. So that's it.
Well, it's good counsel now. When you tell her no, I don't think she's going to like that. No, I can't talk to you.
Well, she's the only one I say no to, it seems like.
Well, Dick, you were going to come out. We're going to work on your disc this afternoon.
Yes.
No.
Okay.
No. Of course we will.
Yes.
But you're right. I think. Go ahead, Frank.
Yeah, I have a story that Dick reminded me of. My first sales job was I was living in Massachusetts, working for an Atlanta-based software company, working out of my basement and it was a basement. It wasn't finished. A basement, which we had in Massachusetts. We have basements. On a TV tray with a phone that had a long extension cord from the kitchen upstairs. Anyway, and I work on my own. And I report directly to the time the chairman of the company. We were a small company, and we talk every Monday or Tuesday. And he asked me one question that really rocked me about time management. And here's the question he said. He'd say, Frank, since we last spoke, what did you do good for the company? And I said, wow. Mm. All of a sudden now I have a list of accomplishments. I could have been busy as hell making calls, making this, making that. And he would have liked that, but it wasn't something productive. Did I get 3 appointments? All of a sudden, so that one question made me really concentrate on focusing on activities that I could report. His name was Tom. Report back to Tom. Hey Tom, I did these 3 things in the last since we last spoke,
Yeah.
and that made me focus a lot.
I have a great story. I got to tell this story. So when I had my internet company, icityonline.com, we had to go out and get an outside CEO, and we got this guy by the name of Alexander. He's actually famous because he started 1-800-Flowers, Bill Alexander. Anyway, Bill would walk across the floor at closing time to our youngest employee at the time, Joe Connell, who I raised in the martial arts school since he was like 6. And sit down at his desk and ask him, what have you done for the company today? Right? Same kind of story, right? But he did it on a daily basis to young Joe. Now, so all the computer guys, we installed some software on Joe's machine that we could take over his machine. And so you could see Alexander walking across the floor to get to Joe, and all of a sudden Joe's machine, the door opens for his drink holder called a CD-ROM. Gay porn goes up on his site, and he's tried to turn it off, and it can't. We're showing all this stuff is all the time. The CEO of the company was walking to show, and you know it would take. And Joe would finally, oh my God, my machine's possessed. And he'd turn it off, and he'd be all rattled when when Bill would sit down with him. What have you done today? We did that 3 days in a row until he finally got caught on that we were doing that to him. But
you guys. You guys had a lot of free time.
No, we just had a good camaraderie. That's all. You can't take yourself too serious all the time. Come on,
That's true.
But it was priceless. It still lives to this day. But the whole concept of asking even yourself, "What have I done today?" Which I think echoes what Dick was saying too. And some days you're going to come up short. Other days, I find even the distractions that I have to go down. I learned something from them. You've got to be able to find the nugget. I was telling Dick earlier about a client that has called me for 4 years in a row and ask advice on their website. And I constantly give them advice, and they take it, but they never hire me. So 2 months ago, I was thinking about this person, and sure enough, she called this week and wanted to know if I hosted the things and stuff like that. Yes, but then I realized it's just let her go through another company to get what she wants. It's just easier. But the thing that I kept coming back with her is I found out they had a new website, which is what I was trying to get them to do in the first place. And I said, how is it after 4 years I don't have your business? I give you all this great advice for 4 years now, and you go to somebody else to build your website. How is that even possible? I told her that at least 4 times in my hour and 10-minute conversation. I need to learn to shut up and hang up. Eileen, this is back to Dick's thing. I need to learn how to say no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So I think what we have to do, guys, is we have to practice it. So there's my no. Dick, what do you have to say about that? No.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. It's hard, with especially I think with you have a very giving personality where you want to help people, so it's hard for you to look at it more from a commercial point of view. To say, hey, I'll help, but I want to get some business out of it. It's just not your style.
One of the gold nuggets out of that conversation is I called Frank. I said, Frank, I need your help. I'm beside myself here. I'm too close to the forest to see the trees. And Frank came up with an excellent suggestion. Frank, you want to share that, or you want me to share it?
You share it. See what you get out of it.
And Frank said, basically, here's what you want to say. At one point in this conversation, probably more earlier on than not, Frank said, I have a package. I'm telling this to the client. I have a package that allows me to do what I do best. And that would allow me to get that phone to ring so that the electrician in this case, he doesn't want to market his business. He only wants to do what he does best. And that's flip wires and put sockets, whatever that is, but he doesn't want to run his business like a businessman, but I do. So I have this package that I will run and increase the business and get sales for him while he does what he does best, I do what I do best, and we both win. Did I make that work, Frank?
Yeah, that was it. That was it.
And
how did she respond?
don't know yet.
Okay.
Don't know. I actually am going to call her today to see if they got what they wanted done, and remind them that I've got this package that he doesn't have to do anything. I'll take care of the whole thing. He does what he does best. I do what I do best. There you go. So I'm going to try that. So, but out of those distractions, I asked Dick for counsel too, and that's why you have a mastermind brain trust of friends, right? You say, hey, I need some help. I think I just did something stupid again, and be honest with yourself. But at any rate, that's my kind of sort of story with all of that. But find a jewel, a nugget of gold, no matter where life ends up dragging you off track. At least find something of value out of that.
Right.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. So enough of that, huh? Get back over to our list here. Okay. With the time management thing, let me weigh in on that a little bit too. There's a quasi-student of mine who seems to be all over the board with his time management and actually in overwhelm. And I think there's a lot of people that do, in fact, get in overwhelm with their schedules. And so I had suggested to him that you block out from 8 to 10, you're going to work Market Samurai. From 10 to noon, you're going to help build websites. And from 1 to 3, you're going to do article marketing, whatever, okay? But you break up your day in known blocks, put it in your Google Calendar, that's what I'm going to work on for those 2 hours. Turn the phone off, don't look at an email, concentrate solely on those blocks of time that allow you to get some stuff done. Was my counsel to him. Now, whether he does it or not, I don't know, but I can remember doing this in college. I always took 19 to 21 semester units per semester, and those were big lab classes, with lots of work, and so you really had to be a time management master while I was going through engineering like that, and so that was my counsel. So if there's any small businesses out there, and you feel that you're just getting knocked around by the tide of life and the current of life, maybe day part your day into blocks of time and stay focused on those things to get your results. Okay.
All right.
Any thoughts on that before I go to the next thing that I better get queued up over here? I've learned that. So one of the big things I've been doing is building WordPress websites as fast as I can now because they were so time consuming before. So I want to share with you, this took me all of 4 hours to do, and many people know I'm a Second Life player, and I like to go in and videotape or video record different places that there are in Second Life that people maybe don't even know about. So I grabbed this template that I actually used for somebody else and said, how fast can I take this template, customize it to my adventures in Second Life, and here's my 4-hour result, which I think turned out pretty nice, and these are like these focus sections that Dick has on his website. You get 3 of those, so you can meet, this is my Second Life name, so you can meet me and we go over there. And here's all about me, so to speak, and then up here if you want an interview in Second Life, etc. But back to the template itself, the customization of the template turned out to be pretty darn nice, and every time you do a blog post, it becomes the latest news. And then down here I found Linden Labs and San Francisco's map for the background. And I put this down here because this particular template doesn't do social media too well. So I put my Facebook and my YouTube, and then I looked at that. FU.
Really?
Well,
I
look
can't.
at it.
I can't see it. It's too small on my
Yeah.
phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, it says Facebook, and then the one below it is YouTube, so it's FU. I thought, oh my gosh, that's not too good. But so whatever it is. So and then of course, I put in a gallery of all the various builds that I've made and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. And then videos. I have all of my videos in here. I just shot this last night, so you can go down and see all the different things that people want to see what these are all about. Some are here's a Halloween sim, and here's a prehistoric sim, and this is like an Arabic sim, the Sands of Time. A sim means simulation or simulator. It's a chunk of land in a that you have. Here's a Portuguese business sim, Moscow, and whatnot. And so you can literally go through and see all these things. And I have all these on my YouTube as well. But so people can come and onto the site and view all these various things. There's St. Paul's Cathedral. They've recreated the whole thing. And here's a live concert of the Blues Preacher Man. People don't know that people can actually stream live music into these concert events, and whatnot. And so that's pretty cool. And then I also starting to build out how to build videos. And here's how to build a picture in Second Life. Here's how to do terraforming, which means you start out with this chunk of land and you lower it, sculpt it to become whatever island or a place you want. And people don't know how to do any of that stuff. So this thing came together, like I say, in about 4 hours. I haven't completely optimized each page, but basically it's certainly got me going quick here with this template that I purchased, and I think it's a nice look. So any thoughts on that?
So then WordPress, once you get a template you like and you learn how to use it, it is pretty quick to put up.
It can be a lot quicker. You know, each template, what I was running into, of course, is that each template is unique to itself. I bought 10 templates from this company, and they're all different. I'll show another one. I mean, some of them are pretty fabulous, and I meant really quite beautiful. And each one again has its idiosyncrasies. And let me pull this up. Just take a second here, everybody. Hang in there with me. And this, and they're a cross between, they're literally a cross between creative and marketing. And so here's Tiffany's nightclub that I did. Here's their DJ calendar and their videos right off the bat in their header. But as you can come down here, here's the focus, here's one of the owners, here's the club events, any upcoming events, here's their interview that I did, here's their DJ calendar. You get down here and this sweeps in. It's 100% formal, 50% period time, best DJs. I mean, it really starts to show what you can do. Here's their team, the owners. Here's the testimonials. I got to add some here. I put in mine. And then how to get in touch with them. And I just think that's a very nice looking template. And you can still, the other thing that's nice about this particular template is, in fact, the navigation is sticky. In other words, it stays up here at the top with you all the time. So here's their DJ list, so you can find out who's playing what nights and what it's going to be. I don't think we have any frequently asked questions in there yet, and I did put in some pictures for them, I think. Yeah, I did. And they have they're the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and it's kind of a gangster theme. So here's one of their Al Capone's car, apparently done in real life. It's kind of hard to see because it's a little on the dark side, but there are bullet holes in the darn thing. You can see the bullet holes. Those are authentic bullet holes. So a builder recreated that in Second Life, and the wanted poster, obviously. But So it turned out really pretty nice in the sake of jamming down through this and making these things happen. But it's a beautiful template, and I think anyway, it's pretty striking. I think yeah, what it can do for them, and so that's kind of sort of what I did for that.
So can you drag and drop those videos in certain spots?
No, it's all programmed.
Okay,
You gotta,
so it's not a drag and drop.
no, definitely not drag and drop. No, you gotta, as Dick can attest to it, you gotta put rows and certain things in there and go get codes and stick them in there. And yeah, it's not drag and drop. But so it can be done pretty quickly once you get used to it. So building my repertoire. All right, so next up on the deck, well, we're running along here. Next up on the deck is that I got a message. I probably should have pulled it up, but I got a message from I consider a troll, and he insulted us about our podcast, the first one, where people were having trouble getting on a Google Hangout, and this guy basically said, "Oh, my six-year-old brother can do this. You guys are stupid and old, and why would you even, blah blah." It was not very flattering to us, as you all both read, but we responded back, and I think one of the great lessons is, and we suggest people use podcasting or doing webinars that you can rebrand and put out their video. Essentially, when you put yourself out, you are going to get these, what I like to consider trolls, that just want to say inflammatory stuff to hurt you and to get you angry so they can start a little food fight. And I think we handled it very well, in the sake that I engaged them right away, which you should always do. I get a notice in my email that somebody had left a comment. I zip over there to see what it was, and it was this troll. And I responded, "Gee, what didn't you like, or this or that, blah, blah, blah." Then he came back with another stupid insult, and then I finally answered him, "Well, thank you for your kind thoughts," which basically says, well, you can imagine what it really says, is he was not being kind. And I really wasn't thanking him, and go away. And then Frank, you weighed in. You want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah. I typed in, and I kind of used his words, young versus old, and kind of turned them around. And then I said, we've been too successful for too long, and what we're looking for is open-minded people who are willing to learn. And that was it.
Yeah, Dick, you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I do. I just responded back that I said I'm not sure of your age, and I'm not sure how your resume compares to us older people, but I would be interested in hearing your advice on how small business can last more than 5 years. And that was it. Now, I'm speaking for myself. I think all of us, we welcome comments. Then we want more comments, and we good or bad, but we ask that you do them in a professional way, and you leave your name. If you have a comment, have the guts to put your name with it. Beyond that, as Peter says, you're nothing but a troll. So.
Yeah, I think one of the nice pieces about this is that we responded back with our resumes. Accomplished individuals. Let's see your resume. What have you done?
Right.
And if we're going to compare things, then let's compare this. And what advice would you help us give our listeners to last longer than 5 years as a startup?
Yeah.
And he never answered back, because I don't think he has any experience.
Right.
He just has a mouth,
Right.
which that's okay. That's okay. But we're really trying to be helpful here and give people stuff that they can use today. That's what we brand ourselves.
Right.
If you listen to this show, I guarantee you there's a business tip in here today that you can use right now that will help you make more money. Guarantee it. So keeping up with that, I think, is really, really important for us to maintain, and everybody should maintain. Right. What can I gather today to help me out? I mean, shoot, that is the thrust.
Right.
Let me get the next topic up on the deck here. We did this experiment last week, and I think we may have mentioned it in the last podcast, so I wanted to kind of give an update. Get over here and set the focus on me. Here we go. Okay. So we got this idea because we've been going to this place called Perch for free lunch. Now, it does incredibly shift the paradigm. There is such a thing as a free lunch. We always say there isn't, but there really is. And so we put together a website really quickly here called Overheard at Table 2. And basically, we tried to, and these are just placeholders right now. Last week we actually tried to put up a podcast, and it wasn't as successful as we wanted. We actually did a live streaming. Each person had their cell phone streaming to me, and I was recording it. And it was difficult because they got lots of feedback, and the pictures were grainy. They couldn't hear me, which I was part of the spark, I think, of the debate last time. So tomorrow we're going to try it again, except for we're going to try to be on Perch's Wi-Fi this time. But Dick was the Johnny-on-the-spot technical guy. Very stressful, huh, Dick?
Yeah, it was quite an experience. It's kind of an oxymoron for anybody who's known me for a length of time to call me a technical guy. But we went through it. The problem was there was some of the people, Frank helped some of them. They just didn't know what to do or how to do it, and it took a little bit more education than I thought it would. But I think that part tomorrow should be smoother. I think everybody figured out what to do and how to do it, so that part should be smoother. So, and by and large, there was an energy around us. We had people walking by, asking what we're doing. One guy asked, "Is this a charging station?" And I said, "No, we're doing a podcast." And the people, Jim, the guy who lets us do it there, came by a couple times. And then as we're wrapping up, the chef and the lady who put out this free lunch, said, "How did it go?" They were really interested. And I said, "Well, great. We'll have to get you on one of these weeks." And the chef, the lady said that, the chef would be a great guest to have on. So we'll fit him in. But until you do something, this is a brand new experience for me, anyways. There were some bugs. It wasn't perfect. I've watched it a couple times, and I could see some of the things that we did wrong. But I think in general, we had some. It was pretty good. We need a little bit more conversation. Focus rather. It seems like the people were just kind of scattered around and all. So, but overall, right. I think it was good for a start.
Frank, what was your opinion?
Yeah, I watched it, and we had a problem with the hearing and everything, but we also had too many side conversations going on that were picked up that kind of drowned out some people who were focused. If we can work out that, I think it's a great idea. It's definitely spontaneous. It is real, and it is not perfect. I think that adds to the attractiveness of it.
Yeah, part of the ambiance are those side conversations, but right. Yeah, well, we're used to having something like this is much more technically produced and organized, and it's in its right place. And the fallback position is if we can't quite get it the way we want, then is to try to get everybody on something like this and do a table 2 approach, which basically is a completely open, unscripted conversation about any topic you want. And the more inflammatory, probably the better. More controversial, let's put it that way. The more controversial, the better. Where people are attempting to not necessarily be PC anymore, not insulting each other by any means, but getting some things out there. I think that was the jewel of what we saw, huh, Dick?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the idea of it came from the week before when with your uh,
Insulting
motivation,
everybody.
motivation. It was very spirited, and I think another thing we should probably have a start to it sometime after people get through eating, rather than it seemed like people didn't realize that we had started it. So I think we'll learn and adjust, but I think that it was still a good idea.
I think one of the takeaways for viewers would be, okay, if you can embrace mobile podcasting in some fashion, which we were doing with a Google Hangout, you can generate a lot of buzz, and people want to know what you're doing, and they want to be part of something like that, and that gets you to build a relationship, so they prefer whatever you're selling in your brand. It can be quite the tool, I think.
Yeah.
If you're into networking and finding new people or finding places, I mean, and you become a little miniature rock star. Everybody knows watches your podcast, or once they get aboard with all of that stuff,
Yeah.
it does wonders for your business.
Yeah, I think the lesson I would take out of it, or took out of it, and other people should maybe learn is don't be afraid to try something new. And when it doesn't come out perfect, do your postmortem and say, okay, what do we do to make it better? And each week you'll get better at it. Or if it's just something that it just wasn't a great idea, well, it wasn't a great idea. It's not the end of the world. At least you tried it. So I think embrace trying something different. Frank's Twins are always about somebody doing something different to get recognized and be successful. Well, embrace doing something different in your business, whether it be a mobile podcast or a website or seminars or webinar, whatever it is. Try it, and then adjust. That's all.
What's the worst that's going to happen to you? They're not going to give you 2 birthdays this year.
No.
So, but I think, I mean, if I even think out of the box a bit, think this out, Frank. If a person had a small business, and they wanted to get to know a lot of people, if they go into a targeted business that they want to know, and ask to interview live on their cell phone the CEO, and you set it up so you got a live Google channel, and you got your YouTube all set up so that it goes up there automatically, no editing required. You have to get good at this thing, because live is live. You can't go fix it. You can pull it down and correct it later, but whilst you're doing it, it's like this. It's live. But that could really help get past the $10,000 a year secretary that is there to screen out people that want to do business with them, And but that live in your hand, gonna do it right now. Technology, pretty clever, and it's all for free, essentially. So, all right, guys. Well, we're up at our 10 o'clock hour. Any more comments, Dick?
No, I'm just gonna say goodnight, Dick.
Go say goodnight, Dick and Frank.
Good night, Dick.
All right, guys. Good show. Hang on.